And I'm back. So let's go over this game. So, like always, whenever I play a ranked game, I play with a 5-minute delay because it's required by the highest room. If you're streaming on the highest room on Tenhou, you can't play it live, so you have to delay it for 5 minutes. And so whenever I play, I'll write down some notes of like just certain situations or places where I'm uncertain of what to do, and afterwards I'll go and review them. So this is live, and so if you have any questions, feel free to ask on chat, and I will answer them as soon as I look over in that direction. So let's get started. First question, East 1-1, fourth turn. Oh yes, this is kind of interesting. So right now I got pretty good, like 1, 2, 3. I just drew another Ryamen right here with the 5, 6, 4. So I got 4 pretty good regular shapes, but I'm missing my pair. So what I could do here is either throw Hatsu, 8 so, 6 pin, or 9. I want to keep the 8 around though, because if I do get a 7, then I'll have a 5, 6, 7, 8 shape, which means if I do end up not getting my pair, and I Riichi, then I'll still have an 8 and a 5 weight, which is pretty good. So that means then I can drop the 6, the 9, or the Hatsu. So 6 is okay if I do draw it, mainly because it's like Pinfu. But aside from that, it's not that great. Even compared to like Hatsu, the only thing I lose with that is Pinfu, which isn't actually that big of a loss, mainly because it doesn't actually bring you up that much. Not to mention, if I do end up like slimming down my hand later on anyway, the first thing to go will probably be the 6 pin. Though the Hatsu isn't out yet right now, so I guess it's not that much of a improvement on safety. Not to mention, this hand's really nice, and if I drop the Hatsu right now as opposed to later, it's a little bit less likely someone will call it. So all things considered, probably drop the Hatsu over the 6 pin right here first, even though I don't really need the 6 pin that much. But I still could technically get like a red 5 pin and then like switch out. So yeah, probably Hatsu would be a little bit better there, especially since everyone else looks kind of slow. Alright, next up, 10th turn, Reach. So I got my hand into this great shape right here, which is like, wow, it could be Sanshoku, it could be Itsu, it could be none of the above, and I drew the none of the above option. So, what do I do here? So normally if I just like throw out 7 Sozu again, I can get like a pretty decent Tempai with a couple of things, but now even if I do draw like the 2 or the 3 mon first, I'd be Furry 10 on the 4, 7, so that's not that great. I could drop like 3 Manzu and then stay Dama, and then if I draw like a 1-4 Pinzu or a 1-4 Sozu or a 5-8 6-9 Sozu, I could then reach or stay Dama depending, or I could reach you right now. So the biggest thing right here is just how good do I think if I do end up taking a Tunky weight, how good is my weight? So 5 mon was dropped from Toymen. We had an early 1 mon from Shimocha right here. And then this guy I don't know anything about. But if we do drop the 3 mon, it does have the benefit, especially with Reach, that people would follow up with it, which might wall off the 2 mon. Of course, reaching on the 3 and then waiting on the 2 is not that rare. And so even if we do have a 3 mon wall, they might still be a little bit apprehensive to defend against that. So I guess ideally at this point I would like to have maybe a couple of the 2 mons still in the wall, but I mean that's kind of unlikely because with the way the tiles work, so there's 136 tiles, and then by the point that you can see up to like basically like 3 rows of discards, even if you were on a wait for, let's say, I don't know, the 4 and the 7 Sozu or something, at this point in the game, half of your weight is going to be in your opponent's hands or in the dead wall. and then the rest would be in like the regular wall. Let alone if we get a little bit over here, and then instead of having like 8 tiles that we're waiting on 3 tiles. So we might expect, even just, you know, based off of straight numbers, that probably only 1 2-mon remains in the wall. But we have a little bit of extra information here. 2-mon was dropped early on, or 1-mon was dropped early on. 5-mon was dropped right here. So there's an okay chance that neither of these two people have a 2-mon in their hand, which does help us a little. But yeah, at most I would think maybe like 1, 2 is maybe, 3 probably not. 2-mons remaining in the wall. So if we do Ricci here. Oh, Nemane says, let's see, probably should have watched more of the lives before the MTL tournament. Would have been useful. I hope so. How'd you do in the Montreal tournament, by the way? And also, are you going to the New York Open this year? If so, oh, it's this week. Alright, so if I do Ricci right here, what is everyone's like reaction? Currently I can see 1 Dora, so it is quite possible that someone might end up pushing me if they have like a Mongon pretty decent, like 1 Shanten. Especially if they don't have to risk anything for it. Number of safe tiles that I have to me right now are not actually that great, so they might be a little bit more willing to push. But normally, like, against a dealer reach, usually you're going to be leaning towards folding more often than not, unless you do have a Mongon hand. But because I can't see 6 of the potential Dora tiles, it is quite possible that that might happen. Similarly, if I do decide to like ignore this, even though Itsu chance is kind of sad now, the Sanshoku chance is still alive. 1-4 Manzu still has 6 tiles out, so it's not that bad. And I can still draw a 5, 6, 8, 9 Sozu to get a pair. Except if I draw a 6, I have to throw the door of 5, so I'm kind of sad. So yeah, how good is our 2-mon here, and what do we expect people to do? So in the game, the main reason I decided to take this 2-mon wait was because for these 2 people looked really good, and this person's a bit of a mystery, but even just with these 2, I think it's like probably enough that there is a chance that there's still 2-mons in the wall at this point, which if I reach you with like a couple tiles in the wall on like the 10th turn, that's still about like a 34% chance of drawing it if we go to Yukoku, which is kind of high, especially with the dealer reach. So yeah. Oh, 14 out of 20. Ganbare! Oh, no money? Boo. Yeah, I really wanted to come to Montreal this year, but it was like, whenever I heard the announcement, it was like a month beforehand, and so I was like, oh, cool. So I went and checked the flight prices, and they're all like $600, and it's like, I can't make that. Unfortunate. Alright. Maybe next year, though. So yeah, at this point I thought that there's probably maybe like 2-mons in the wall. I don't know if my read was completely wrong right here, which actually might be. For instance, there's an early 1-mon over here, but it came out after a Haku. So that probably means that they had other connected... Well, actually, no, Haku came out like this, so maybe it was just... That might be okay then. If they had connected tiles to this, they might have a 2-mon in their hand, but... Yeah. So I guess the big question just is, how good actually is the 2-mon here? So this person, I have no clue. These 2 people, I would guess have none. Let's look real quick. So yeah, in this case right here, they did have connected tiles to the early 2-mon. Probably they switched out with like a 4-mon right here. Yeah, so they had a 4-mon to hold for the 2-mon. Toyman also had like all the 2-mons right there. They dropped the 5, but that if you normally have like a 2, 3, 4, 5 shape, you would drop the 2-mon over the 5-mon, especially to give like less information. In this case, though, the 2-mons formed like a block in their hand, so holding on right there. So yeah, my 2-mon weight was actually really bad. Hmm. The only saving grace to this was with the 3 mons, they did almost form a wall, which makes that seem a little bit safer. And especially when the last 3 mon came out. But when they got into Tenpai themselves, they also thought, wow, this is a great wait. And then we killed each other. Then this person got right here with Tenpai with Tanyao Dora Dora Dora. Oh. Interesting. Yeah, that's the one dangerous part about like Tanki weights. It's really hard to guesstimate like how good they are because you have like you know, people who can end up with like a pair of them, they can end up with a triplet of them. So maybe right here, just like throwing out the 7 Sozu might not actually be that bad. Hmm. Interesting. Oh yeah, Frenetic, you really need to go to the Montreal tournament. It's great food. Okay, so I'm gonna take a picture of this real quick and send this to a couple people. Let's see. I wonder how many files I have in my Mahjong pictures folder right now. Let's see. Pictures, Mahjong failures, click. Is there any way to count the items? Oh, properties, here we go. Contains 750 files. Oh, that's less than I thought. 750, what would you do's? Alright. And send this to Kazi. Alright, so next question. East 2-0, 5th turn, 10th turn, and 9 mon? Question mark. So 5th turn. What do we do here? So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs. We technically have 5 blocks. And then we also have a completed 7, 8, 9 Sozu shape. Plus we also have the 6, 7, 7, which is a nice Ryanmin. Do we inch towards going for a Mensu hand here, or do we keep the potential of a 7 pairs alive? Now normally I don't like 7 pairs much. It's not that it's bad, it's just that if you have another option, especially a regular Mensu hand, you should probably go for that, because the chances that you're going to get the Mensu hand are a lot higher than the 7 pairs hand. Especially if it has, or specifically if it has good shapes and all that. So, yeah, what do I do here? So if we look at our blocks, we got 1 block, 2 block, 3 block, 4 block, 5 blocks, and then we got this floating 6 right here. And currently, 2 of the 1 pins are out. So keeping this other 1 pin doesn't actually do anything for us, aside from the 7 pairs route. But if we do throw out, let's say, the 6 mon, we gain, you know, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9 Sozu for the 7 pairs 1 Shanten. Or if we throw out the 1 Pinzu, we gain 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Manzu to switch out with like one of our pairs, which will probably be the 9 mon pair. So what do we do here? Personally, because we have like this completed set already, we also have this Ryanmin right here. And also because the 1 pins are dead. I think it's probably better to throw out the 1 pin right here and try to keep the 6 mon around for upgrade shape to go for Pinfu, potentially just like, you know, Dora Dora. It's not that bad. So yeah. I kind of like the one pin here. If the one pin was still alive, if there was like no one pins out, at that point, maybe I might kind of inch toward 6mon, or maybe even 7 pin at that point. But yeah, especially with the 2 one pins out, I think we should probably ignore that, the chance of 7 pairs. And if we are ignoring that, then this 6 is really, really strong. So yeah, in this case, I kind of like the 1 pin over that. Alright, next up, 10th turn. Oh, this one was interesting. So it's kind of late in the game. And now I just completed the 7, 8, 9 shape, and I still have the 6, 7 shape right here, which is pretty okay, I guess. So what do I keep? I can keep the 9 Manzu, or I can keep the 5 Sozu. So, or I can keep the 1, 2 Pinzu. So which one do I think looks good here? So first off, Pinzu, or in Japanese Mahjong, there is a concept of expensive and cheap suits. So expensive suits are ones that you don't see much out. In other words, suits that are likely being used in your opponent's hands. Cheap suits are the ones that you see a lot out and are likely not to be used in your opponent's hands. So let's compare. We have 3 pin weight versus a 9 and a 5 Sozu weight. So first off, just counting the base tiles, we can't see any 3 pins, so this shape has 4 tiles. Next up, for these two, 9 Manzu, we can't see any of, so that's 2. And then the 5 Sozu, we can see 1 of right here, and so that's 3. So, which is a better way to go? For improvements, technically this one's a little bit better, but in this case, if you look on the board, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 6 Sozus out. So 5 Sozu is pretty hard to use, right? Similarly, we have like 3 of the 3 Sozus out. So probably no improvement right here, but the good thing is, like, the only way another person can use 5 Sozu right now is if they have the last 3 Sozu and they have a 4 Sozu with a 3, 4, 5 Sozu shape. For the 9 Manzu, we can see an early 8 right here, so they probably don't have 1. This person looks like they're going for open Tenhou. If we count the other Yakuza they could be going for, Chun's gone, Hatsu's gone, Haku is still technically alive, and their own wind is also gone, and East is still technically alive. But considering that they dropped, like, Shonpai, Chun, and then also pretty quickly the one cut of their wind at the beginning, probably not going for a Yakuza hand. So if I had to guess, this is probably a Tenhou hand. So if they are going for Tenhou, that means they can't use the 9mon either. So 9mon would look kind of good right here, kind of good right here. And then this person right here is doing some strange stuff, so they might be using 9mon. I don't know what they're up to. They threw an 8, they threw a 4, they threw a 2-2, they threw like all of these to Mogiri. This could be Honitsu. Even though we see a 1 pin right here, if they already had 5 blocks in their hand, that could just be like basically to mask the scent of Pinzu Honitsu. Or it could potentially also be like Chanta, but that seems also kind of unlikely considering the 2s, the 3s, the 1s. Yeah, I don't know what this is. So, considering that, if we look at the 3 pin, we can see all of the 1 pins, but we can't see any of the other 2 pins. We can't see any of the 4 pins. We can't see any of the 5 pins. So Pinzu is a very, very expensive suit right now. It's going to be really hard to like pull that out from other people. Considering that, I think right here, it's like rather than waiting on the 3 pin weight, which has 4 tiles, we should go for the 9 and the 5 weight, which has 3 tiles, mainly because it looks better and more likely to be in the wall and unusable by other people. Now, was that a correct read or not? I have no idea. So let's look at this right now and we can see if our general impression of like what the board was and what the board actually is. So in this case right here, yeah, this person was going for what looks like to be a Sanshoku, potentially double tone as well, with 1 Dora, open Mangan. Toyman was going for lots of delicious death hand. What is this? 1 Shanten from Pinfu Dora Dora. potential like Sanshoku chance as well. Potential Ipeko, but probably not because they have the Dora. Huh, that's cool. And then this person was going for nothing. What are? Oh no, they're going for open. That's cool. Open Sanshoku with west, or I mean with the North Unko there. So yeah, Sanshoku no Mi right here. Huh, that's kind of rare. So in this case, if you look at the 3 pins, the 4 pins and all the tiles around it, 3 pins, 1 out, 2 out, and then none right here. But they can use the 3 pin with the 4 and the 2. For the 5 Sozu, doesn't look like it's out right now yet. It could be used by this person though, not these two. 9 Manzu is 1 out right here. And then this person can also take in the 9 Manzu as well. So both of these weights are kind of bad. The 3 pin and the 9-5 Sozu both have 1 tile left in the wall each. I'm sorry, 2 tiles left in the wall each. So yeah, they're both kind of iffy. Yeah, they're both kind of iffy. All the questions. Though yeah, my main reason for like going for choosing the Shabo over this Penchon right here was because everything around the 3 is like unseen, so it's really likely even if the 3 is in a wall, someone can use it. The 5s on the other hand, it's like they only have one. There's only one specific shape right now, and like one specific tile that they can use it with, because we can see 3 of the 3 Sos, all the 6s are out, and we can see 3 of the 5s, so they can only use it with the last remaining 3 in the 4 Sozu, which that person had. And then 9 Mon also. For these 2 people, didn't seem that bad. Surprisingly, this is like open Sanshoku no Mi, so that's interesting. But yeah, all in all, both weights are kind of iffy. So at this point, I got into Tenpai, and I'm like, should I take this? So the 5 Sozu, from what we can see right now, since we last looked, a call has been made with the 2 Sozu right here. In other words, the 5 Sozu is completely unusable, and it's probably not in anyone's hands, because if it is in someone's hands right now, they can't use it. It's literally, like, there's no shape you can use it in right now, except for a Tonki, but that would be very sad. So yeah, 5 Sozu looks great. 6 Manzu also looks pretty good, considering that this person right here is going for like Tanyao, and it also looks like this person right here is going for Tanyao. Surprise, it's actually Sanshoku, but that's hard to see. Even like this south right here just looks like a safe, or I'm sorry, this north right here looks like a safe tile overflow. So yeah, do we take this Ricci Tudora on the 3 tiles that we still can't see? Plus, we have a 6 Manzu right here, and so 9 Manzu is even better for our weight. So considering that, I'm like, yeah, we should probably take this. 7 Mondora I can't really see out right now, but considering we have 2 Dora and our weight looks pretty good in regards to even if they do draw it, they can't use it. I kind of like it. All right.
Each.
Wait. Next question. East 3-0, 6th turn. Janakti. East 3-0, 4th turn, 8th turn. There we go. I have like a lot of games on these envelopes that I have laying around, so it's like, oh wait, which one was this one? Alright, 4th turn. Ooh. Oh yeah, this one was kind of fun. So right here, I have the choice between getting rid of this 1 3-pin right here, or this 7-9 Manzu right here. But the 9 Manzu is the Dora. But considering that I could potentially upgrade to Tanyao right here with a 4, 5, 7, or 8 pin draw, and get Pinfu Tanyao Dora, I'm like, that seems really good. So I kind of wanted to keep this around. Not to mention, if I do end up waiting on this wait right here, this is a very, very sad wait. It's the Dora indicator. It's really hard to come out. It's really likely to be used by other people. And so this is just very sad. So in comparison, instead of keeping the door right here, because we have other potential in our hand that we want to build towards, and also as a final weight, we probably wouldn't take this anyway, just because how bad it is, and especially in this room, people are very likely to push if they have anything semi-decent, and so this coming out, even if they're pushing, is really unlikely, which means we might end up falling into a death trap. So rather than doing that, I decided, you know what, pay up the 7-9 Monzu right now. Doors are also pretty hard to use for other people as well, and then block in my other shapes. Now, is that good or is that bad? I don't know. Maybe I should have actually thrown maybe like the 1 pin first, and then if I got the improvement, then drop the 7-9 Monzu, which might not be bad. And then if I do get lucky and happen to draw the 8 Monzu, I can instantly reach you with Pinfu Dora Dora. That doesn't seem that bad, actually. Maybe that one's a little bit better. But I guess the question is, if I do end up, let's say, dropping the 9 Monzu, and the next turn I draw like a 5 Monzu, do I want to immediately Richi on the Richi 1 Dora on the 2 pin? I mean, maybe, maybe not. My improvement with that Pinzu shapes that I have is not that bad. It's not super, super great either, but it's not that bad. 9-1 is also kind of hard to use, and so that might mean that I can maybe wait a little bit more to try to improve that hand, because I can improve by like 3 different Han right there. Because if I take the immediate reach with the 1 3 pin, it's Richi 1 Dora. Whereas if I ignore that, it can become Richi, Pinfu, Tanyao, and also Ipeiko. So that's like a 3 Han improvement, which is usually good enough. So considering that, maybe I should actually drop 1 pin here. And then next turn, if I draw the 2-5 mod, I would go ahead and drop the Dora, and then wait for the Tanyao improvement. Because I'm not going to take the 8 mon Richi. Or I probably shouldn't take the 8 mon Richi. So yeah. 1 pin's probably a bit better than dropping this than that situation. In the game, I was really focused on, like, I do not want this to be my, like, final weight, so I'm going to go ahead and drop this. But yeah, considering that if I did draw this first anyway, I'd probably not Richi. And so 1 pin drop is probably better there. Now, one good thing about this round was everyone was kind of like very like, wow, super fast. And so opening my, or getting rid of the door pretty quickly kind of paid off in that situation. But normally, like, with this kind of board state, this looks pretty slow. So, yeah, probably better drop 1 pin right here. Alright, next up, 10th turn. Uh, 10th turn. Oh no, 8th turn. So right here I have a chance at 1 Shanten to Ipeiko. I'm sorry, 7 pairs, or Chitoitsu. Or I can ignore that to keep my other blocks alive. In this case, I decided to keep my other blocks alive, mainly because if I do keep the 4, I need to drop one of my other somethings, right? Which is either going to be 3 pin or 3 Monzu. If I drop either of those, I'm cutting off my chance, my improvements, because like this right here is really good still. So if you pull out the 3 4 5, you have a 5 6 6 7 shape. which means basically I get to get rid of these 1 pins and improve to a Pinfu and Tanyao and potentially Ipeco with a 4, a 5, a 7, or an 8 draw. So considering that, I think I should probably drop the 4-mon. Toyman looked weird, but they dropped the 2-mon early on, and then they dropped this stuff, so this is probably not Honitsu. Yeah, I don't know what this is right now. After this, it's like, oh, it's Sanshoku Dora. I'm not scared of that. Especially because there's no call of the pawn on the 9-mon. This doesn't look that high. If I had to guess, probably 2,900, at most 5,800 points. And then, right here, I got my, like, boom, everything's perfect. So now I drop the 7 pin. Now I have the 2, 5, 8 pin shape right here.
Boom.
And then continue pushing. Same thing with this guy. No call of the 9-mon. I can see this right here. This also looks pretty cheap. This could be potentially, what is it called? Honitsu and the Sozu. But if so, it's probably not Senpai yet either. And also, they dropped some tiles that they probably shouldn't have early on if they were going for that, so it's probably not that. If I had to guess, this is also a quick hand. That's like 1 or 2,000 points. And then once I got to Senpai right here, 3-sided weight, so no reason to be shy. Reach. And then that guy got to Senpai as well and immediately reached. So let's see what the board state actually was. So what did they reach with? Oh, they had a nice like Rizupin Fudora. Unfortunately, boom. Yeah, this was Sanshoku like we guessed. Sanshoku Wandora, and then this was also cheap. Hakunomi, 1,000 points. So, yeah, that's cool. Alright, next up, East 4-0. And I don't think I wrote anything on there. So what was my question on here? Oh yeah, this one. So on this one, it's like, well, I have 2 Dora, so I need to find a Yaku now. Especially for this Dora, it's pretty easy to pull in if it does come out, because it's really hard to use, so it is pretty likely to come out from these 2 people. So I need to find some Yaku. Right now, I'm 1 block away from Honitsu, and I'm also 1 block away from Chanta as well. So start off, 4-mon and 5-so are the ones to go. Now we have the Chun, which can fit into both categories. It can be used for Chanta, and it could also technically be used for Honitsu. And then we got the 9-mon right here. Now, should I switch this over, or should I keep my blocks alive? So keeping the 6 around means that I can still use, I can still switch to like Honitsu. Keeping the 9-monzus around is pretty good, just because it gives me a chance to pull in that. I can still take in the 8-mon if I keep the 7 around. But the biggest thing right here is that I'm still missing a block, right? Because I can get this like 1 block, 2 block, 3 block, 4 block, 5 blocks, or I can get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but this tune is like a lone tile. I can't use the 6 pins and the 9 monzus together in a, unless it's a closed hand, except I have a lot of bad shapes, so it's going to be way too slow. So right here, what can I do? Considering that even if I do go for Honitsu, I'm going to need that last block. And Honitsu and Chanta in this case aren't actually that much of a difference if I get the Pawn of the Dora, because it's, you know, a Mongon versus 7,700 points, so they're basically equivalent. So yeah, maybe I should actually drop 6-pin here, because if I do keep like the 1 alive, and also the Chun alive, that gives me a couple chances to both like draw like a 2 or 3 over here, and then like Chun over here, and then go with Chanta. I can still pull the Dora. But the 1-mon has 2 out, which is kind of the main reason I'm like, maybe I should drop the 1-mon here. But the 2 and the 3 Monzu are still pretty lively. Plus, because the 1 Monzus were cut kind of early, there is a decent chance that they were lone tiles and then have anything around it, which means that this would be a pretty cheap suit, aka 2 and 3 Mon might still be pretty plentiful in the wall, which would be really good for me. So yeah, looking at this hand again, I kind of like dropping 6-pin here. since both routes end up at a Mongon anyway, and they both use Chun, so I don't actually lose that much from 6-pin. Especially now that I have the 9-mon pair, I can like call this and go for Chanta without worries, so yeah, I kind of like 6-pin here. Kind of a fun hand.
Home.
So in this case, this comes out, and now it's like, which one do I do? Once again, I have the pawn of this, and so it's like, well, I can go for Chanta, or I can go for Honitsu, or I can go for Chanta. But of course, like, the 6-pin can only be used in Honitsu, the 9-7 can only be used in Chanta. So it's like, which one do I do? Both of them need the Chun to come out. Considering that, I should probably actually drop the 6-pin still, I think, here, because if I'm going to need the Chun anyway, or some other block anyway, it's probably easier to get calls from other people, like in the Manzu tiles, especially since my discards kind of look like Chanta, especially with this call right here. So yeah, I think I was holding on to the 6-pins for too long.
Don't.
And it's like, you don't have any Dora. Get out of here. Alright. Next up, South 1-1, 5th turn, and 11th turn. Yeah, this one's kind of nice. So, do I drop 3-mon here, or do I drop 7-pin here? If I drop 7-pin... So, like, what do I gain from each of them? If I draw the 4-pin, I'm not that super sad. Actually, it's kind of okay. Well, actually, it's not that okay. It's basically the shape that I have already. Yeah, if I draw 2-mon, that's like almost the same as drawing the 8-pin. 6-pin drop is probably better than the 4-mon draw. 5-pin is actually not that bad. 5-mon draw, I can still be it. If I draw the 5-mon and I keep the 7 along, I can still use that shape because this can double as a pair, and I can throw out this. So yeah, considering that, probably 3-mon here is better than 7-pin, which I think is what I did in the game. Going on to the 11th turn. Yeah, this one. So there's the Ricci right there. I have open Dora 3 right now, going for Tenhou. So what do I do here? I can drop 7 Manzu. I can drop 8 Pinzu. I can drop 7 Pinzu. I'm not dropping 7 Pinzu though, because 1, it's dangerous. 2, if 8-pin is a lot better because like keeping the 7 around just gives me the 6 because I'm going for Tenhou anyway, right? Whereas if I drop the 8, which is safe, I also get 4-pin and 7-pin I can just use as well, and I can call this right here. So considering that, 8-pin looks probably the best right here. I'm only losing the 6-pin, and compared to the 7, I'm keeping the 6 Manzu chance around as well. 5-mon is Nakasuji at this point, so... Or 5-mon isn't Nakasuji at this point, so... Yeah, probably that. At this point, it became Nakasuji as well, so now I have the other option of throwing this out, even if I'm not in Senpai yet. Then later on... I wasn't... Oh, yeah, so here we go. So 8-so at this point is like one of the only remaining Suji tiles, and so it's like, I can't drop this. So, drop that. I got lucky enough to get another 8, so now I can drop these... this pair right here. I don't want to drop the 5-6 because 6-pin is still technically dangerous from what I can see on the board. 5-mon is Nakasuji to them at least. Called Chi right here. Tenpai on the 3-6-0 for a death hand. Now this is fun. 3-pin came out and then 7-pin came out. So like 6-pin is pretty safe. And so it's like, oh cool, 6-pin's okay here because we have 3 and then we have all the 7s. In other words, this is a walled off Nakasuji. We have one right here as well, so it's pretty unlikely that they're waiting on 6-pin. So this is a relatively Safe push right here.
Home.
Unfortunately for us, they pwned it and gave us this instead, and now it's like, oh god, what do we do? So what should I have done here? So in the game, I'm like, well, I can't drop the 8, I can't drop the 5, I guess I'll fold. But maybe I actually should have just dropped the 4. But that's kind of a hard push right now, mainly because Forso isn't super bad. It's actually a Nakasuji. 7 So came out right here, and right here. 1 So came out right here, so 4 So is technically a Nakasuji.
Chi.
But
Home.
let's count the tiles that we can't see on the board right now. In other words, let's count the Shonpai. So if we look at the honor tiles, we can see all 3 of the dragons. We can see 1, 2, 3, 4, all 4 of the winds. For the Monzu tiles, we can see, let's see, 1, 2, 3. We can see 4. We can see 5. Do we see 6 anywhere? No 6, so that's one tile we can't see. We can see 7. We can see 8. We can also see 9. Let's go to the Pinzu tiles. For the Pinzu, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can see 8 and 9, so all the Pinzu are accounted for. And now on the Sozu, we can see 1. We can't see 2. We can't see 3. We can't see 4. Out on the board, we can't see 5. We can't see 6. We can see 7. And we can't see 8. So 7 tiles, so that's not that bad, but Sozu looks really scary right now. Especially, like, if they happen to have, like, you know, some type of, like, death hand with, like, all Sozu. It's kind of unlikely, though, since the 9s came out pretty early. Yeah, so should we risk throwing 4 Sozu here? Or should we just fold with the 7-pin? If we're dealing with 4 Sozu right here, even though, like, let's see, well, we have this many Dora, so all 4 of the regular Dora are seen. We have 1 Dora right here, this is the red Dora, so there's 2 Dora that are missing, which is the 5 Sozu red Dora and the 5 Mansu red Dora. So if we do deal into this hand right here, into someone's hand, it's going to at least be Hote. From the person right to our left, it's probably going to be like Hote Tanyao, maybe even a Dora with a red. To the Ricci, that'd be kind of bad because that's like at least Ricci Hote, which is at least 2,600, plus the 300 points on the board, 3,000, so 2,900, and maybe Ura as well, maybe any other Dora, maybe any other Yaku that they have in their hand. So we want to avoid that. Toyman as well. They like push the 7-pin Suji, without it being 100% safe. Actually, it's pretty 100% safe, so they might not necessarily have Tenpai. But either way, the most we can lose in Ryukoku is 3,000 points, and if we deal in, we can lose a lot more than that. Especially throwing a tile that has not been thrown yet. So yeah, especially, and we can't even see the red 5 Sozu yet as well, so it's possible. Yeah, this is a kind of dangerous situation. Is it worth the push? I don't think so, but maybe. So yeah, in this case, I just decided to fold instead, and Hitori no Ten. This guy was waiting on an 8-pin. This guy was waiting on the 5 Sozu. And then the guy across from me was waiting on actually the 7 Sozu and Furry 10. So from that perspective, it's like, wow, 4 is kind of safe, but it very easily could not have been, especially with its Shonpai status. So yeah, I guess 7-pin's okay here. If it wasn't Haite, I might be willing to throw 4 Sozu, since it's at least Nakasuji, but... And there's still technically 7 Shonpai left. If it's like less than 5, that's really bad. But because this is Hote as well, probably better to play it safe. Because if you do land, you're most definitely paying more than the Ryukoku amount. Alright. Next up. South 2-2. 5th turn. Ooh, yeah, this one. What do I do here? So, East is dead. I got potential Tenhou right here. Potential Dora Dora. I could draw the 8 Sozu for instant Tenpai on the 4 Manzu. What do I drop? So my biggest options are technically 7 pin, 7 Sozu, 9 Sozu, and East. So ideally I want to kind of upgrade this hand to Tenhou if I could, but yeah, if I do get instant Tenpai, that might not be that bad of a reach either. Reachy for 2 Dora, Sumo for Mangon. But dealer's going to be pushing regardless, so having a good weight would probably be actually kind of good. So considering that, maybe I should just go ahead and drop the East. If I do draw an 8 beforehand, that's not that bad. Because I can still make my pair with like the 4-7 Nobetan shape, even though it's kind of iffy. Keeping the 7 pin around is really good. If I draw like a 6 pin, 3-sided shape right there, I can like use this as my pair, go into Tenhou, open that up with the 4 Manchi. So yeah, all things considered, I should probably actually drop East here. I really like the 8 Mon draw right here, but 4 Mon reach is kind of really iffy, especially with this point situation where everyone is kind of inclined to push. So yeah, I should probably drop East right here. Yeah. Later on anyway, later on anyway, I switched over to Tenhou as well. Luckily, the 4 Mon came out right here because there's only 1 left, and I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna kill me. And so got Tenpai with that. So for open, Tenhou, Dora Dora Sanshoku. So yeah, that's pretty nice. All right. Next up, East 3-0, 10th turn, and this is my last question on here. Which weight do I want? So Toyman's going for what looks like to be Tenhou. Looks pretty cheap. I can see 2 Dora, at most 2,900 points. I don't want dealer to win because if dealer wins, the round repeats. So I'm not going to be folding or anything like that. Should I throw a 5 pin here or should I throw a 6 pin here? If I throw... I'm sorry, or should I throw a 4 pin here? If I throw a 4 pin, I'm waiting on the 5 and the north, which has 3 tiles left from what I can see. If I throw the 5 pin, I'm waiting on the 3-6, which has 6 tiles left. Considering that both Toyman and Kamicha threw a 6 pin, the 3-6 pin doesn't look that bad, and so that's why I'm kind of like, yeah, I probably want to take the wider weight. Even though the north wind is probably still in the wall, compared with like the number of tiles right here, I think this weight is probably going to be wider than the other one. Now, was I actually right in practice? Let's see. So right now we have, of the potential 8 weights, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in people's hands. So a remaining of 3. Compared to this one, which has 4 tiles and then 1, 2 out on the field. So yeah, technically 3 versus 2. Both kind of iffy. The benefit of the north is that people can't use it in their hand even if they want to. For instance, like 3 pin could still be, or 6 pin could still be used right here by dropping the 9 pin Dora. Though they might not want to do that because it's Dora, and they also need points with their situation. But yeah, in general, I think taking like the 6 tiles over like the 3 right here is okay. If both of the east were still, or north were still alive, maybe we should keep with this. But because one of them is dead, I think that's kind of reasonable. All right. And that's all my notes for this game, so I'm going to go take a break real quick, and then I'll be jumping back in for another game with a 5-minute delay, so see you in about 7 minutes. And thanks for watching.